Hello, all of you lovely people. My name is For Extraordinaire, and today I wanted to break down a few of the details from the latest news regarding the current patch that's going to be coming in Humankind as a balance patch, as a bug fix, just as a general patch from the Amplitude team. And this patch is going to be fairly beefy. We've been waiting for a patch this big for quite a while, and the previous patches haven't actually touched much regarding balance and balancing cultures. So this patch should be fairly excited. I want to break down a message from the developers about feedback, about how they've been responding to that feedback. So if you want to skip ahead to my actual dissection of their commentary, skip ahead in the video. Otherwise, I want to read the note that the developers have to say. I think it's fairly important. And before I even get to that, I want to make a quick announcement regarding the channel. Thankfully, the YouTube community has graced us with our own community tab, so now I can post and kind of give you guys a live feed on my current situation, what I'm doing, post a few memes here and there, and of course, keep you guys updated on all the latest Forex strategy news, and the strategy news in general, kind of with Paradox, because I love to talk about their games and whatnot. But just as an aside, I have a community chat tab, so feel free to keep checking that out for any information, and I'll try to keep you guys updated. Now, for the topic at hand, we have a lot to discuss as Humankind will be releasing its really first big official patch. There's been a lot of bug fixes as I've talked about, but its first big official patch on the 28th of October. So let me read the note from the developers, and then I'll kind of try to dissect it afterwards and analyze, specifically look for any clues the developers might have left, and just try to talk about what we can expect going forward with this patch. It's been almost 2 months since we put Humankind in your hands, but that was only the beginning of our journey together with this game. The response was enthusiastic, but the enthusiastic players are often also the most critical. That is very true, and we received a lot of feedback through Games Together, the Steam forums, and even Steam reviews in the first couple of weeks. Interestingly, they didn't put Reddit. This feedback is vital to us, not only to see what you like about the game and what problems you want to see addressed first, but also to get a picture of how you would like the game to grow in the future. Today, we want to take a look at the improvements we have already made, the feedback we're seeing, and what we're working on for the next patch. After launch, a few subjects quickly emerged as frequently discussed by the community. Many players found that they were unable to fully experience the contemporary or even industrial era, as they could not find enough resource deposits on the map, and many times pollution ended their game prematurely, which I have to admit was kind of funny to watch. We have since increased the amount of late game resources, raised the limit of pollution, and added some additional options to reduce it. To allow our players to save with the last eras, though, we know many of you would like to see further improvements. We also fixed a problem with naval assaults on cities, which led to unassailable island fortresses, and that was a very, very big, but again, another funny problem that kind of arose out of, I guess, what was basically a whole month of kind of extended beta testing on the devs team's part from really August to September with pollution and whatnot. In addition to these frequently discussed problems, we've made some improvements to other parts of the game. For example, we've started work on user interface by rearranging the terms in the surrender screen to make different territories easier to find. We've also been working on the AI, particularly how it handles armies and battles, and then furthermore, we've added better validation tools to the map editor, which will be very, very appreciated by the map modding community, and they've already put out some epic maps. They've also put out some Earth maps, and just it's been amazing to see the map community already put out so much work in such a little amount of time. And if you guys want to know how to install maps, I'm just going to shamelessly plug my mod.io Humankind installation map tutorial in the card in the right. Of course, we have also been working hard to improve the stability and performance of the game and addressed many of the bugs reported by our players. However, we know we have yet to address all of your concerns, and while our team may not be able to respond on the forums as much as they'd like, we watch your discussions with interest. We've been following many fascinating conversations about a variety of topics, from Neolithic population growth to end conditions, culture balance and affinities to overall game pace, line of sight and unit balance, religion, and even improved quality of life for personas and the new game lobby, among others. We have already fixed many crashes and stuck turns, but there is still some major concerns that are among our top priorities. For example, the Mac version, multiplayer stability, and the reports of crashes and turns not ending properly. These issues have a wide variety of potential causes we need to tackle one at a time, and similarly, multiplayer connection issues involve a great number of variables that can make it difficult to reproduce them in our testing environment. In other words, these issues have proven more difficult to address than anticipated, and as such have slowed down both the investigation and testing phases of some fixes. We want to apologize to our fans on Mac for the long delay of the official Mac release. While we have made good progress on the Mac version of the game, creating an M1 compatible version has proven surprisingly difficult. Unfortunately, we did not have access to sufficient information and hardware in advance, so we could not start work on compatibility before release. We are sorry that we did not foresee this long delay, and we're currently finishing our examination and will hope to release these issues as soon as possible, but we cannot give you an estimate of when they will be fixed yet. We don't just want to review what we've done since the release today, we want to take a look at the future. We know many of you would like us to expand certain parts of the game, like religion, diplomacy, cultural influence, and pollution, with more options for the player and stronger interactions with the other game systems. While we agree that many parts of the game could be expanded, these are substantial changes and additions that require careful consideration and time to implement. We are working on various improvements, and we think you will be excited about there's a bit of a typo there, but we are not ready to share details about them yet. Additionally, rest assured, we are keeping a close eye on your discussions to take into account where and how you would like to see the game grow. Finally, some news we know many of you have been waiting for. We are aiming to release the next big update on October 28th. This patch will improve your options when creating your game with new settings for resource abundance and in conditions, and try to address the rapid increase in the game's pace in the mid to late game as discussed by the community, as well as some of the most discussed concerns about balance between cultures, among other things. And then we'll talk about the game update in greater detail next week, and that seems to be it. I apologize for any stuttering there. The article itself had a bit of typos here and there for the spacing and pacing of the paragraph, so I understand French to English can be a bit difficult. But just as for the general discussion, I really just am glad to kind of see that the devs are keeping up with support, and it's going to be interesting to see, kind of touching back on what they ended the article with, and that's just going to be kind of concerning how they address some of the features, whether they decide to make some of the expansions focused around certain features and therefore the lack of certain features. And then I really hope to see some changes to diplomacy, but I honestly feel independent tribes and some of the features on Humankind have so much potential that they could have an entire expansion dedicated to them. Like, you could give independent tribes statehood, you could make them have unique interactions with countries, perhaps they could have their own little cities and develop without being absorbed immediately or annexed by their surrounding countries. So I really think there's a lot of potential with that. I think there's also a lot of potential in terms of the style of the game, how they decide to kind of mesh together different religions and different architectural styles. I think religion could use its own expansion, honestly. There's a lot of potential here. Faith itself could use a huge rework. It's one of the resources where I feel it just does not have anything going for it. It's probably the worst resource in terms of just detail and what you can really exploit with it. So I think Faith could use some tuning. But in general, I'm really looking forward to see how they take the game forward with balance changes regarding cultures. Thankfully, they remember to mention that they will be addressing balance changes regarding cultures, and especially the game pacing, as that is a big detail. I noticed, especially if you choose cultures like the French, which you can even see here on the screen, they just have amazing science, and with their specific emblematic quarter, they can really rush science and just beat the game in the industrial era, which is just insane. So there are definitely some balance issues, there's some game pacing issues, and they've even acknowledged there's some still some problems with bugs. So I just really appreciate that the devs are addressing this. They've been very open with their problems on Mac, so I really hope the devs are able to iron out these problems and just keep putting out fixes. But I am very hopeful and optimistic for the October 28th balance patch. We've been really waiting a while for that. And if you've seen some of my videos, you'd know that Humankind's player numbers, or if you just check Steam charts, Humankind's player numbers have dropped like 94% or 96%, which is insane. They've lost like 53,000 players. So I think they're really trying to get back the goodwill of the community and really just try to... I was going to make a really crappy pun, buy out, but with this patch kind of influence or buy out some of that faith and restore some of it after kind of how bad the launch was with all of the different bugs and the balance issues we still have today. So I really hope this was insightful. I tried to give some of my opinions without being too biased, as as someone that kind of tends to restart frequently, I think I noticed some problems and emphasize or overemphasize some problems with early game cultures too much. And then I forget in terms of prioritizing other things like military composition and things like just the game slowing down with sorry, because I know I have a stronger PC, but just the game slowing down kind of later on with lower end processors. So I really hope I've been able to address some of the problems that you guys have, as well as some of my problems in a very efficient and coherent manner. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been For Extraordinaire. If you liked the video, you can leave a like, subscribe, and if you're subscribed already, don't forget to hit the notification bell for updates. And I really hope we get to use our community tab and kind of check out and continue this journey really that I've had on the channel. We're approaching, I think, in almost 2 weeks, our year anniversary. So I really hope we can perhaps kick off a stream maybe on the 28th and really celebrate that. But we'll have to see where Humankind goes from now. And again, I'm just very glad that the devs have continued their support for the game. So thank you guys again so much for watching. This has been For Extraordinaire, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. All right, peace.